had a good Christmas with their families yesterday and with friends as well. I want to share today from Luke chapter 2 again. I want to read verses 25 through 35. Now, this is an account of a man named Simeon who was promised by God that he would be allowed to see Christ, the baby Jesus, the gift of salvation before he was to leave this earth. So let me go ahead and just start reading. And there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was a righteous and devout, looking for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. And it had revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ. And he came in the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to carry out for him in the temple, brought the child Jesus to carry out for him the custom of the law, then he took him into his arms and blessed God and said, Now, Lord, you are releasing your bondservant to depart in peace, according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples, a light of revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel. And his father and mother were amazed at the things which were being said about him. And Simeon blessed them and said to Mary his mother, Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and for a sign to be opposed. And a sword will pierce even your own soul, to the end that thoughts from many hearts may be revealed. So, Simeon was promised, because of his faith and his loyalty and his obedience to God, to be allowed to see Christ before he was to die. And so when Mary and Joseph brought Jesus to the temple, as was the Jewish law custom, um, the Holy Spirit actually came and led him to the temple and revealed Christ to him. And on that, he was, of course, he was very grateful and very, uh, very happy to finally get to see uh, God's gift of salvation, uh, not just to the Jews, but to all mankind, because he said, Ally unto the Gentiles. So Simeon knew and believed in the prophets that Christ was not here just for the Jewish people, but they were for the Gentiles, which would be us. Um, and he blessed Mary and blessed Joseph for their part that they were going to take in raising Christ. Um, but he did give Mary a a forewarning that she's going to see and witness things that are going to pierce her heart. That's going to, make her very sad, and she's going to go through a lot of pain. And what she does when she witnesses everything that gets done to her son Christ, uh, um, during the trial and throughout the process up into his crucifixion and death. Um, but it's amazing how one man's faith and obedience gave him a great blessing. He got to see Christ before he died. You know, he was of the Old Testament standard, but was allowed to see the New Testament covenant come to life, and he glorified God for that. Um, and it just shows how um, he got rewarded for, because he believed without seeing. He believed in Jesus and his coming without even seeing him. He believed based on what God had taught through all the prophets about his coming. and and now that we're here and Christ has has died and resurrected and is in heaven now. Uh, for us who believe and obey God and believe and obey Christ and His sacrifice and His gospel, uh, you know, how much more are we going to be blessed because we're in the same boat as Simeon is? You know, well, Simeon got to see Christ before he passed, but before then, he was going on pure faith and belief and obedience to God, and he was blessed with the gift of being able to see Christ before he died. Um, we need to have that kind of faith and obedience to Christ as Simeon did to God, because we can't see him, and we won't get to see him until he comes and takes us up to be with him for eternity. So, with that, I love you guys. You have a blessed day and safe travels for those who are going back home this weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow.